Hollywood looks glamorous, but behind the lights are disturbing secrets no one was meant to see. Most people think celebrity scandals are just gossip and drama. But what if the breakdowns, deaths, and outbursts were signs of something darker at work? Stars and insiders have dropped chilling clues for decades, hinting at control, silence, and hidden power. Today, we'll uncover 12 of Hollywood's scariest conspiracy theories that might actually be true. Let's dive in. Walt Disney is remembered as the man who brought childhood dreams to life. But conspiracy theorists believe he was chasing something far darker than magic. The rumor claims that in 1966, after his reported death from lung cancer, Disney's body was secretly cryogenically frozen and hidden away until science could revive him. The idea spread quickly because cryonics had just begun making headlines at the time. Disney himself was fascinated by futuristic technology, investing heavily in experimental projects like EPCOT, which was originally planned as a utopian city of the future. Insiders later whispered about restricted areas under Disneyland, part of a labyrinth of tunnels built for staff, and possibly for something else. Some even claim to have seen files confirming his body was stored on ice in a sealed chamber, waiting for medical science to advance. The theory took on new life when the 2013 film Frozen released, with believers arguing it was intentionally named to bury search results for Disney Frozen under a family-friendly fairy tale, covering up the persistent rumor once and for all. For those who believe it, Disney's obsession wasn't just controlling imagination, but death itself. And Stanley Kubrick's final film may have revealed what Hollywood power looks like when control goes too far. Stanley Kubrick was one of cinema's most meticulous directors, but many believe his final film, Eyes Wide Shut, wasn't fiction at all. It was a warning. The movie depicts wealthy elites in masks gathering for ritualistic ceremonies behind locked doors. To theorists, Kubrick wasn't just crafting art, he was exposing something real. What makes the theory chilling is what happened next. In 1999, just days after privately screening the film to Warner Brothers, Kubrick died suddenly of a heart attack. Friends insisted he was in good health, and rumors quickly spread that his death was no accident. Even more suspicious, the studio removed nearly 20 minutes of footage before releasing the film publicly. Those missing scenes were said to be darker, more explicit, and far too revealing. Some also point to the strange digital alterations of the ritual sequences, where computer graphics were used to cover up nudity, an unusual choice for Kubrick, a director known for control over every frame. To believers, these changes weren't artistic, they were censorship, erasing what Kubrick had dared to reveal. For conspiracy theorists, Kubrick's masterpiece wasn't entertainment, but a glimpse into Hollywood's hidden powers. And decades earlier, Marilyn Monroe's death sparked the same question. What happens when a star knows too much? Kubrick may have revealed too much, so if you want more Hollywood secrets revealed, hit that subscribe button. Marilyn Monroe was more than a movie star. She was an icon of beauty, desire, and power. But when she died in 1962, the official story of a barbiturate overdose never sat right. She was found in her Los Angeles home, clutching a phone with empty pill bottles nearby. From the beginning, the scene looked staged. The theory that Marilyn was silenced grew from her alleged affairs with President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert. Insiders claimed she had overheard secrets about politics, the military, and even national security. FBI files later confirmed the agency had tracked her closely, considering her a security risk. Her autopsy only deepened suspicion. No water was found in her system despite reports of massive pill consumption, suggesting the drugs may have been administered differently. Witnesses also alleged her house was cleaned before police arrived, with key evidence missing. To many, this wasn't the chaos of self-destruction, but the precision of a cover-up. For conspiracy believers, Marilyn's tragic end wasn't about personal demons. It was about being too close to dangerous truths. And decades later, Kanye West's outbursts would fuel whispers that Hollywood control still punishes stars who speak too loudly. Kanye West has always been one of the most unpredictable stars in music, but some believe his outbursts aren't random at all. They're symptoms of a system built to control him. Conspiracy theorists argue Kanye is a victim of MK Ultra-style programming, a modern-day experiment in keeping celebrities obedient, and his meltdowns are the result of him trying to break free. The theory gained traction after the 2009 MTV VMAs, when Kanye stormed the stage to interrupt Taylor Swift. To most, it looked like arrogance. To theorists, it was his first rebellion against the machine. In later interviews, Kanye claimed he was being drugged by handlers and silenced when he spoke too freely. His sudden hospitalization in 2016, right after calling out Hollywood elites and politicians, only fueled suspicions that he wasn't taken in for treatment but for a forced reset. Some corners of the internet go further, arguing Kanye was replaced by a clone during this disappearance, pointing to his altered appearance and strange demeanor afterward. To believers, Kanye isn't a chaotic genius but a prisoner, proof of how the industry disciplines its biggest stars. And if Kanye's story is chilling, Britney Spears' ordeal makes the control even harder to deny. Britney Spears was once the most famous pop star on earth, but for more than a decade, decades, she lived under a conservatorship so strict it felt like captivity. Officially, it was meant to protect her during a mental health crisis, but conspiracy theorists argue it was something darker, a system of control similar to the programming used to keep other stars in line. In 2021, Britney herself testified in court that she had been forced to take lithium against her will, that she wasn't allowed to marry or have more children, and that her management threatened punishment if she resisted. Fans pointed to her eerie Instagram videos, dancing in circles, blinking oddly, speaking in riddles, as coded cries for help. Her sudden cancellation of a Las Vegas residency and years of robotic public appearances only deepened the theory that she was being drugged and controlled to perform on command. The Free Britney movement revealed something chilling. If one of the world's most famous women could have her life stripped away in plain sight, then control in Hollywood wasn't just rumor, it was real. Britney may have been silenced, but Gaga's beginnings whisper of another singer's death. Lady Gaga rose to fame almost overnight, with a style and persona that felt fully formed from the beginning. But some believe her success wasn't just talent or timing. It came at the expense of another star. In the mid-2000s, a young singer named Lena Morgana was working with Gaga's producer, Rob Fusari. Lena's voice, image, and dark pop style were eerily similar to what Gaga would debut with just months later. Then, in 2008, Lena died after falling from the roof of a Staten Island hotel. She was only 19. Her mother later claimed Lena's spirit and style lived on in Gaga, describing the similarities as impossible to ignore. The timing fueled a disturbing theory that Gaga's rise was not coincidence but replacement. Some even believe Lena's death wasn't accidental, but a sacrifice that allowed Gaga to ascend in her place. Lyrics in Gaga's early work, references to death, fame, and rebirth, only deepened suspicions that she was sending cryptic nods to the price of her success. For conspiracy theorists, Gaga's fame wasn't destiny, it was bloodstained inheritance. And while Gaga's rise is linked to death, Keanu Reeves' story is stranger still, a star who seemingly never dies at all. If that was interesting to you, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on new Hollywood secrets being revealed. Keanu Reeves has been called the internet's boyfriend, admired for his humility and mysterious lifestyle. But beneath the praise lies one of Hollywood's strangest conspiracy theories, that Keanu is immortal. Fans point out that he hasn't visibly aged in decades and compare his face to centuries-old paintings of noblemen and scholars who look uncannily like him. To theorists, it's not a joke. Keanu is either a vampire, a time traveler, or part of something occult that keeps him ageless. The theory deepens with his tragic personal life. Despite losing close family members and partners, Keanu rarely speaks about his pain, as if he's someone who has endured loss for centuries. Some even believe his grounded demeanor isn't humility at all, but the detachment of someone who has lived far longer than the rest of us. Online forums catalog evidence, from old portraits to his refusal to indulge in typical Hollywood excess, as proof that Keanu is hiding something. Whether he is immortal or simply timeless, the fascination shows how even kindness and mystery can spark suspicion in an industry known for masks. And if Keanu is eternal, Macaulay Culkin's story is the opposite. A child star whose strange messages suggest Hollywood steals youth away. Macaulay Culkin was once the most famous child actor in the world, but his later career led him down stranger paths that conspiracy theorists say were anything but random. In 2013, Culkin launched a parody band called The Pizza Underground, rewriting Velvet Underground songs with pizza-themed lyrics. On the surface, it was absurd humor, but to theorists, it was a coded reference to Hollywood's darkest secret, child exploitation. In conspiracy lore, pizza has long been used as a symbol for these abuses. Culkin's decision to center an entire project on the word was taken as a sly form of whistleblowing, mocking the industry that had controlled him since childhood. Suspicion deepened when Culkin gave cryptic interviews suggesting child stars were used and thrown away by powerful men. Even darker were unverified claims that he spoke privately of elite figures wearing shoes made from children's skin, a grotesque image that conspiracy communities seized upon as symbolic of how the industry consumes innocence. To believers, Culkin's eccentric projects and unsettling jokes weren't random at all. They were warnings, coded into parody, from someone who had lived the nightmare firsthand. And while Culkin hinted through satire, John Lennon's defiance was open, and some believe it's why he was silenced. John Lennon wasn't just a musician. By the late 1960s, he had become a political figure. Through anti-war rallies, radical speeches, and songs like Imagine and Give Peace a Chance, Lennon's voice reached millions. But conspiracy theorists believe this made him too dangerous, and that his 1980 assassination outside New York's Dakota Building wasn't the act of a lone fan, but the result of a covert operation. Officially, Mark David Chapman shot Lennon, claiming he was obsessed with The Catcher in the Rye. Yet theorists point to Chapman's odd behavior, describing him as robotic, cold, and almost programmed. The CIA and FBI had previously monitored Lennon, with declassified documents confirming he was considered a threat for influencing youth against the Vietnam War. Some believe Chapman was a mind-controlled assassin, a Manchurian candidate, programmed to eliminate Lennon before he could return to political activism. Adding to the mystery, witnesses reported inconsistencies about the shooting and the speed of the police response, as if authorities had been expecting it. For conspiracy believers, Lennon wasn't killed by obsession but by power, silenced for what his voice could inspire. And if Lennon was eliminated for defiance, Amanda Bynes shows how Hollywood breaks its stars before they even get the chance. Amanda Bynes was once Nickelodeon's golden child, a star who seemed destined for a long career. But by the early 2000s and 10s, her life spiraled into chaos. Arrests, bizarre tweets, and public breakdowns. To most, it looked like the familiar tragedy of child stardom. But conspiracy theorists argue Amanda was another victim of Hollywood's hidden system of programming, broken when she refused to comply. The theory links her to MK Ultra-style mind control, where young performers are conditioned and controlled for profit. In 2014, Amanda tweeted accusations that her father abused her and controlled her life, before suddenly retracting the claims, saying a microchip in her brain had forced her to say it. She shaved her head, posted erratic videos, and spoke about hearing voices, all signs that believers interpret as her fighting against deep psychological manipulation. Later, she was placed under a conservatorship, echoing Britney Spears, with her freedom stripped away and her erratic behavior used as justification. To theorists, Amanda wasn't unstable at all, but trapped, punished for trying to break her programming, and silenced before she could reveal more. And if Amanda's story is one of control, Michael Jackson's is one of rebellion, a superstar who tried to expose the system and paid the ultimate price. Michael Jackson was the most famous entertainer on Earth, but in his final years he claimed something far darker than fame was at play. Conspiracy theorists believe Jackson was targeted, not because of personal scandals, but because he tried to expose the hidden powers of the music industry. In 2002, Jackson gave a speech calling Sony executives the devil, accusing them of exploiting artists and controlling the industry. He hinted that powerful figures manipulated careers, destroyed those who resisted, and silenced voices that grew too strong. Fans point to this moment as a turning point, after which Michael's reputation collapsed under endless lawsuits and damaging allegations. By 2009, as he prepared for a massive comeback tour, he told friends, "They are trying to kill me. They want my catalog." Weeks later, he died of a drug overdose under suspicious circumstances, with his personal doctor later convicted of involuntary manslaughter. To believers, Jackson's downfall wasn't self-inflicted. It was engineered. His warnings about the industry, combined with his ownership of the Beatles' catalog and other valuable music rights, made him a threat to those in power. His death, they say, ensured his silence. And if Jackson's story reveals individuals being silenced, the Oscar itself may symbolize the industry's hidden allegiance. The Academy Award is marketed as the highest honor in cinema, a golden statue that crowns careers. But conspiracy theorists argue the Oscar is more than a trophy. It is a symbol rooted in ancient imagery, representing Hollywood's true allegiance. The faceless golden figure, sword pointed downward, has been compared to Egyptian deities like Ptah, the god of creation, or Osiris, god of death and rebirth. Others suggest it resembles pagan idols once worshipped in secret rites. The ceremony itself only fuels suspicion. Stars in lavish gowns gathered under blinding lights, praising the statue in language that often borders on religious. Some actors even describe winning as a rebirth, echoing occult themes of sacrifice and transcendence. To believers, the Oscar isn't just recognition, it's initiation. Even stranger are stories of stars whose careers collapsed after refusing to play the game, as if the statue wasn't an award but a contract. In this theory, the Oscar isn't about honoring art at all, but about reminding everyone in Hollywood who truly holds power. And perhaps that's the darkest truth of all. The real movie is happening behind the curtain, and the rest of us are only watching the show. That's it for today. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on new ones. Thanks for watching.